Hey y'all, and welcome back today for a brand new review. I have for you guys the brand new Born This Way Ethereal Concealer from Too Faced Cosmetics. This just launched and I'm so excited to try it out with you guys today. I'm going to do a wear test as well, give you all the info, all the details. Let's go ahead and get started. The original Born This Way is one of my favorite concealers from Too Faced. So when I saw they were coming out with this one, I was pretty intrigued. So this is the Born This Way Ethereal Light Illuminating Smoothing Concealer. This just launched on Too Faced website. I got mine from Sephora and it's available now. If you guys want to check it out, I will link it down below. Got mine in the shade Buttercup. So we're gonna be trying this out, seeing how it wears throughout the day. I'm gonna try it with powder, without powder. I'll give you guys all the details on everything with it. So I do wanna read really quickly some of the claims here on the packaging. I feel like concealers in general have a lot of claims, but let me tell you guys, this says this buttery light serum concealer effortlessly glides onto the skin to camouflage for up to 48 hours while improving the appearance of dark circles. It blends into your skin with a plumping and hydrating hyaluronic acid formula. It also says it has some squalene in here as well as some other ingredients. It's a waterproof formula that diminishes the signs of fatigue and imperfections while adding naturally light luminosity for your look to look natural and flawless like you were born this way. So I feel like that's a lot of claims, but it does have the hyaluronic acid in here. It also says it has alpine rose and coconut water, 24-hour wear, waterproof, sweat and humidity proof, non-creasing, and delivers immediate results for all day moisture. That is a lot of claims. I know concealers sometimes can get me because they're like, you're gonna get a perfect under eyes, everything's gonna be magical, and I never know like what the formula is really like, but I was really excited because like I said, I do love the original one, so I was kind of, like I said, intrigued to try this one. The shade that I got is the shade Buttercup. I feel like that's gonna work best for me. Here is a look at the packaging here so you guys can see. Very cute packaging. I like that it has like the pink top. It looks very Too Faced-esque. There's of course less product in this one than the original concealer because that one has like a ton of product in here, but it's like your typical size. And the applicator, I love this type of applicator. It has a little bit of a curve to it as well as a bend. Looks pretty nice. So let's try it out now on the skin. Like I said, I'll have it linked down below. I believe it was $28. It was $26. Sorry, I had to look on my Sephora app. So $26. I do feel like that's a tad bit pricey for a concealer, but it's not the most expensive concealer I've ever tried either. So I'm gonna actually go in with the Too Faced Born This Way foundation. This is one of my favorite foundations I have. I have the shade Light Beige. I'm currently pretty tan, so I feel like I need a tan product right now because you can tell my face is a little bit lighter than my body. I got a comment the other day of someone saying like lay off the self-tanner, and you guys, I'm not even self-tanning right now. I feel like with the kiddos now, I'm just outside constantly and I just feel like I keep getting tanner and tanner. I did go ahead and just zoom you guys up so we can get a closer look at the skin. So I'm just gonna apply this really quick and then we'll put the concealer on my face. Now that I've got my base blended out, we're gonna go ahead and go in with the Ethereal Light Concealer. And I'm just gonna apply the amount I typically would. Okay, I feel like this might be a good shade match. It's a tad bit lighter, but I do feel like I'd like to have a brighter under eye. So let's actually just apply it to both eyes so we can see how fast it dries down. I'm actually surprised at the consistency of this. I kind of thought it would be a little bit thinner because it does describe it as like a serum-like formula. It doesn't feel like thick. It just doesn't feel as thin as I was thinking it was going to. So there's that. I feel like I had to go in twice, but let's see how it blends out. For blending, I'm just gonna go ahead and use a sponge. This is just one of the Pawpaw sponges. I love these things. We'll just see how it looks. Okay, I do feel like that's a pretty good shade, especially for brightening. All right, it looks hydrating so far. Definitely giving us a little bit of luminosity. I know that's not gonna be for everyone because sometimes people want, you know, more of like a matte under eye, but I personally like an under eye to have a little bit of a glow and kind of your skin to still peek through a tiny bit, but not too much to where it's not going to give us enough coverage. But I feel like that looks pretty good. I do feel like I still see a teensy maybe bit of my blueness peeking through here, but I don't see much, so that's pretty good. I was gonna say it does dry down kind of quick, but not super quick. I feel like it's still blending out fine, but I am working a tiny bit more on this side, so maybe do like one eye at a time. I'm gonna get real close to this inner corner here. I feel like it looks pretty good. It definitely kind of gave us like a healthier glow. I feel like it looks nice too with this Too Faced foundation. Very pretty. I'm happy with the shade match, like I said, so if you're similar to me, I think that that's a pretty good shade match for me. So far, it looks pretty nice. I am, like I said, gonna do a wear test, and I want to do a powder and a non-powder side. So since this is a more like illuminating product, you don't necessarily have to use powder with it, but I do feel like if you want your under eyes to like last throughout the day, a lot of times powder is necessary, especially in the summertime. That being said, with my concealer reviews, I always try to do like one side with, one side without. So if you are planning to wear this without powder, you want to kind of see how it wears without as well. You can see too. So I'm just going to go in with this is the Sugar Cookie powder from Huda Beauty. This is my absolute favorite powder. It smooths so well. It looks really, really nice on the under eyes. And then I'm just going to use one of these puffs. This has been my go-to for applying my powders. I just feel like it looks so much more natural on the skin. So I'm going to go ahead and apply my powder on this side. I'm not noticing any creasing actually, which is surprising. Normally I have quite a few folds like already happening, but I don't see any creasing so far, so that's a good sign. So I'm just going to put this powder right here under my eye, and I really kind of press this in with this powder puff, and like I said, it's just so smoothing. You guys will see like my pores like literally disappear when I use this. It's magical powder. So I'm just applying it right in here, and it is kind of a brighter shade, so I do feel like it gives me a little bit of a brightening effect, but I do feel like also when I apply my bronzer and everything, it kind of, you know, works a little more. So here is a side with powder. Very smooth still. I feel like it looks really nice with powder. And then our side without, so you can tell it definitely has like a nice luminosity to it still. I'll be curious to see how this side like does throughout the day, if it is something that you need powder with or not. But so far on this side, it definitely looks very smooth, very nice. But I don't like hate this side either. I feel like it still looks pretty good. It's definitely one of those more illuminating formulas if you are not planning to use powder, because I feel like it is kind of bringing a little bit of attention right to this area. I don't mind that because like I said, I like that more like glowy under eye look, but I know that's not for everybody. But if you're planning powder, it definitely still looks pretty matte over here with the matte powder. So let's go ahead and apply the rest of my base makeup now, and then we can kind of start with the wear test. Bronzer, I'm going to go in with this one from ColourPop. This is one of their new matte bronzers, and this is in I'll Bet. And I'm just going to use this with my sponge. I've been liking it actually lately with a brush as well, but I don't have my brush with me, so we're going to use a sponge. And I want to warm up my face quite a bit because like I said, the foundation is still even a little light for me, but this is really pretty. If you guys haven't tried these yet, would highly recommend. I've been using them nonstop. And then I'm just going to top that with a little bit of this palette. This was the Breakfast Club Detention palette from Physicians Formula. I just put up a review on this. This is like the topper bronzer in the Volume 1 palette. So I'm just going to apply a little bit of that just to give us a little glow, especially since we are going to not apply powder on that one side. So just lightly going to apply this, and then I'm also going to go into the blush right here in the palette and use that as well. If you want to check out that review, I can link it for you guys down below. And then just a tiny bit of glow. I'm going to add just a little to my nose. I don't really want any face highlight, but just a little right there and a little right here. Since this is a concealer review, I don't really want to do too much to my eyes to like take away from the concealer. So I'm just going to add actually a little bit of that to my eyes. And I'm just going to blend it out with my finger, and then I'll apply a little bit of powder over top of it just to get rid of any veins that I do have. You can definitely tell how illuminating it is too, just on my under eyes, and it's blending out pretty smooth too with my finger. So if you wanted to use your fingers for your under eyes, you probably could. I'm just going to use what's left over on my little puff to just set it down. For mascara, I'm just going to use this one here from The Balm that they just sent over. This is their newest mascara. I'm not going to apply any to my lower lash line just so we can really see if we have any creasing or anything like that. Pretty much going to leave the makeup look here. I might apply a little gloss at some point, but I wanted to show you guys how my under eyes are looking. So I'm still pretty impressed with this side without powder, because now I've been sitting here probably for like a good 25 minutes and I don't see any creasing really at all. Normally I have quite a bit of folding right in here and I don't really notice it. If I probably pull my eye down, you can see like a tiny bit, but I don't notice anything like down here, which is good. And I don't see any creasing so far over here as well. So far so good. It does have, like I said, just a teensy bit of illumination right in here where I have a little bit of texture. So it kind of is emphasizing that, but I don't think it looks bad. I don't feel like it's emphasizing the texture as much right in here, but I do feel like the powder definitely helps that out. For the wear test, I'm going to kind of just check in at each 2-hour mark and we will see how the under eyes are looking. So I will see you guys in about 2 hours. I am back at my first 2-hour mark. So we definitely have some creasing happening on the side without powder. I'm not surprised because pretty much every concealer I've ever tried creases on me. I will say it's not that bad. I've had much worse. I do feel like it's wearing really pretty. I'm not noticing any like separation or anything yet. We're only at 2 hours though, so we have to give it time still and see if that happens. But we do have, like you can see, a couple creases right here, and then it's also creasing a little down here as well. So we have that, but so far the coverage, everything looks good over there still. This side is definitely less creasing over here, and I do feel like it looks a little bit more smooth on this side. However, we are starting to get a little bit of texture right in this area, kind of similar to how I have that over here. So even with the powder, it's still kind of peeping through a little bit. So I did just want to make note of that, but it still looks pretty good. I'm pretty impressed. So far, I feel like it looks pretty nice. So let's go ahead and check back in another 2 hours. The hot one today, you guys. I've been outside for like the last hour or so. It's like 96 degrees. So this is getting like the full wear test. But here is what we're looking at the next 2 hour mark. So we have quite a bit more of creasing. It's not still terrible. I've had much worse. We have a little bit more here in this area over here. It's starting to look very oily in this area because I feel like we had a little bit of a concealer down there as opposed to this side. It's still definitely looking a lot more matte, but we did apply the powder. So I still don't think it's looking bad. I mean, it's not really coming off at all. I can handle these few little creases. It's going to happen because my eye just naturally folds there. So I'm not mad at it at all with the no powder side. And I think the powder side looks incredible, especially for being outside for as long as I was. It still looks really nice on that side. So far I'm impressed. I'll meet you guys in another 2 hours. Here I am back again for another update. So here's what we're looking like again. Powder side, I feel like it still looks really good. And then here we are on the other side again, just those small creases. I know I keep mentioning that, but they are widening just a little bit. I am going to tap away. We have a little bit of mascara fallout, but yeah, so I mean, still looking pretty good. I'm starting to get shiny like in this area here, like I mentioned. Still also a little bit shiny over here, but definitely less shinier with the powder side. But all over, I think it's looking really good still. It's not losing any coverage, which is what I'm looking for. So very nice so far. I think I'm going to do one last check-in at another 2 hours, and then we will see what the skin is looking like then. Here we are at the end of the day. This is the 8 hour mark. It's still looking pretty dang good. I feel like this is gonna be a new one that I am liking, I think for sure. I need to try it obviously a few more times, but I feel like from the look of my under eyes, they still look really nice. I do feel like the side with the powder looks great. It still looks very smooth. I have very minimal creasing. It looks great on this side. This side, I feel like for me personally, the way I'm gonna like to wear this, I think, is actually not as matte as I did this side. Maybe just with like a light powder, maybe like the LYS powder, Charlotte Tilbury, something like that, where I can get like a tiny bit of just like something to kind of help with a little bit of creasing that I got, but still like leave that luminosity through, because I do feel like that's the intention with this concealer, is to have like that radiant finish. And I do really like the way it looks. I just feel like I need a little something, like a little something. But I don't think, if you don't like powdering your under eyes, I don't think you'd be mad at this, because like I said, I have very minimal creasing. For me, that's not something I really want at all, so that does kind of bother me a little bit, but it's not terrible. I've had, like I said, much worse. So I feel like all in all, I'm very impressed with this, especially at the 8 hour mark. I still feel like it's looking pretty dang good. Summarize my thoughts on everything. I think if you are someone who enjoys a illuminating concealer but you still want that coverage, you're gonna like this one, because I do feel like it still has really good coverage with still giving a nice brightness and luminosity to the under eyes. I feel like with a light powder, like I said, this is gonna look amazing. I can't wait to try it that way. I also think it still looks good with a, you know, like a thicker matte powder. It's just that I feel like this is more intended to be a little bit more luminous, kind of like this side. And I don't think either, if you are someone who doesn't like powder, I don't think you're gonna be mad at this. I think you'll still really like it, even if you have some creasing like I do. I feel like it's not that bad. And even if I were to just like tap this out throughout the day, like it'd be perfect. So I do think a lot of people are really gonna like this one. I can see it becoming a favorite for a lot of people. I'm still gonna, of course, give it a few more tries to kind of get my feel for the formula and everything, but I can see myself reaching for this one a lot. I also think the shade match ended up working out really nicely for me, which doesn't always happen with concealers. A lot of times it's like either too light, too dark. So I feel like I found the right shade, which is always helpful. So hope you guys found this video helpful, and hopefully you guys kind of got a feel for the concealer from this wear test and everything. Thank you as always for watching. Like I said, I will link it down below if you want to check it out. And I thank you as always for keeping up with my channel and for watching these reviews. It always helps me so much. So I'll see you next time. Bye guys.